Hi friends, welcome everyone to this presentation. I'm Soft Reason. In this presentation, we are going to be looking at reinforced concrete slab detailing, just like this as you are seeing it. All right, and we are going to be using the Protastructure detailing template. All right, so as for us to be able to fast track the detailing of the reinforced concrete slab, just like this. In the last 4 lessons, we were able to. Here is the reinforced concrete drawing in AutoCAD, just like this. Okay, and so if I zoom closely to the drawing, you can see the way it looks. All right, and then we are going to be taking this drawing now to the Protect Company drawing template. This template now, all right, and then we see the changes that will be made to this drawing successfully, and it will help us to reduce workload of editing up to 90% workload reductions of editing of this drawing. So at first, I want to highlight all of this drawing just like this. So what I get them highlight like this, I will right click, all right, and then I will on that clipboard, I click on copy right there. After I got it copied successfully, I will navigate to the Protect Company drawing template. All right. As I said earlier, these companies affiliate with Protastructure companies, and then they were able to develop this particular template for ease of editing of Protastructure reinforced concrete drawing. And so I want to be pasting this right away. So I will right click and then click on paste. Okay. And so once I click like this, you can see the changes that have been made successfully to the drawing. You can see. So the drawing has been automatically, edited successfully. Alright, so you can see, look at the way the drawing is here in the template. Now if you come over to this particular tab, you can see the way the drawing is here. Put the Prota details of reinforced concrete members to this template successfully. And we were able to edit beams. We were also able to edit other structural members like the columns successfully. So in this video now, we will be looking at the reinforced concrete slab design. And you will require the template to be able to carry out the detailing at ease. Because a reinforced concrete slab detailing consists of various rules that sometimes it might be confusing. But if you get this template, you may have a reference detailed slab like this. So you can always use it to remind yourself of most of those complex rules and regulations that we are going to be considering in the detailing of this reinforced concrete slab successfully. All right. And so I want to be explaining 1 or 2 things using this particular detailed systems of reinforced concrete slab, just like this. Okay. So if you zoom closely to this, you will notice that I have various reinforced concrete bars. Various bars I have here. All right. If you check in the call out labels, you can see I have some as T and then some as B. All right. So the one you see as T is the top bars, while the one which you see as B is the bottom bar. So 32 is the number, while Y12 is the diameter. All right. Then the 33 you see, 33 is the bar mark, and then the spacing is 175, and then B is either a bottom or a top bar successfully. All right. So slab actually is being detailed panels by panels. All right. For the slab that we brought from Protastructure, you will have something of this kind. So this is how Protastructure details reinforced concrete slabs. All right. And this is not presentable. That is why we will have to use a manual method to be able to carry out a detailing that will be presentable. All right. So that's what we are going to be looking at in this lesson. Okay. So for us to detail from the Protastructure already detailed slab just like this, we will have to copy out some of the necessary and important members from this, so we can be able to carry out the detailing. The general beam arrangement as well as this column and the grid lines are very necessary, while we will ignore all of this slab rebar line we will have to ignore them, then we will be able to carry out our detailing successfully. Okay, so let's us get started. So at first, we will want us to copy out some of these lines. Okay, so what we are going to copy out at first, we will be looking at the green lines. So you get the green lines highlighted. Mind you, this is from Protastructure, all right, directly from Protastructure. All right, so I will highlight all of these lines just like this. Okay, highlight these are the green lines, all right, in both the horizontal and the vertical directions successfully. So after I got them highlighted just like this, what I will do is I will just have to key in on the keyboard CO for copy, enter, and then I'll pick it from this point. All right, so I will take this out just like this and place it here. Okay, the next thing I will be taking out from here is the columns. All right, so I will select it. You can see the label. If I come to home right there, column line. All right, so I will get all of these objects selected like this, so I can get all the column lines successfully. So I will right click, then I will navigate to quick select this one. All right, so in the quick select dialog, you just have to click on the layers and then come to value, then select in the drop down menu. You have to look at column line like this, click on OK. So all the columns you can see has been highlighted successfully. So what we'll do now is on the keyboard, you just key in CO for copy, enter, and then come to this point of intersection between A13 and A3. All right, where the grid is met here, these provisions, and then you click right there, then take it out and then come to the same provisions just like this and click. So we get that done successfully. The next thing we needed out from this is the beam line. All right, this one, the beam lines. Okay, so get all of the objects selected, right click, quick select that. Okay, layers. All right, then navigate to value, and then this time around it is going to be beam line. So you navigate to beam line, this one. Okay, after which CO on the keyboard for copy, take it from this point, and then you will be able to place it here just like this. All right, so having gotten all of this, this is more or less like our general arrangement of first floor beam. All right, so we'll be using this to carry out our detailing system of the slab. Okay, so let's us dive into detailing system now. Okay, so slab is being reinforced concrete slab is being detailed panel by panel. So as you can see, I have a panel here. This is another panel. All right, what I meant is if I should pick a rectangle from this point all the way to this point is a panel. All right, also the same thing applicable from this point to this point is another panel. Okay, so in this panel we have the longer side of the panel and as well as the shorter side of the panel successfully. Okay, so we will be having the main bar and the distribution bar. So the main bar is spanning in the shorter direction, while the distribution bar is spanning in the longer direction of the panel. So there are a series of panels here, so we are going to be connecting all of these panels together and detail all successfully. All right, so if I should come back to what we get from Protastructure, all right, and I should select this, you can see rebar line. Okay, so we'll be using this layers, okay, for our rebars, and this is basically for bottom. All right, so I'll come back to these provisions, and then I will have to activate the bottom rebar lines by going to layers. I click here in the layer drop down menu, and then I will navigate to rebar lines. I'll have to scroll down, okay, to rebar lines. This one, I'll select that. Now the layer is active. Okay, I pick on line. All right, so once I pick on line, right away I want to be drawing a member. All right, a member of this panel, for this particular panel. So I will pick this point. You can see my snap point is not well set. So what I will do, I'll come to this provision and right click and click on object snap tracking setting. So I want to set all of this to select all just like this, and then click on OK, so that I can be able to select any point on the environment. Okay, I pick line again. I'll be drawing a rebar that is going to span in the shorter direction, which is the main reinforcement. So I'll pick this point from the grid line point like this. I take it to this point, and then I will place it there. Here is another panel. But if this panel is too close, you can't be able to extend this rebar across it. There is no problem. All right. So since this panel is very close, like what I meant is the length from this point to this point is like 1.7. All right. So you can't move this across it, just like this to this point. Now the next thing is to provide a hook. All right, a hook that is going to be tied to the top bar that is going to run along these provisions. Okay, so the hook is going to go like this. Pick this point. You are going to have a hook length of 100, just like this. You ensure that your hand is straight, okay, or turn on your auto mode, just like this, and then you should be able to have 100 and enter. Go this way. Now you going this way. The minimum length you should have is the minimum length you should have going this way now is just 50 times D. D simply means the rebar diameter. So if, for instance, like what we have right here, the rebar diameter we have here is 10. All right, but Prota gave us 10 for the sake of an unforeseen circumstances. You can decide to use 12. So we are going to be considering the rebar diameter of 12 millimeter for our bottom bar. Then we can use 10 millimeter diameter of rebar for our top bar. So what we are drawing right away is a bottom bar. So we are going to be considering the rebar diameter of 12 millimeter. Okay, so the length to produce referencing the hook is 50 times the diameter. So if I should activate a calculator and I should have a 50 right there multiplied by 12 equals, so it's 600. Okay, so you go this way, 600. All right, just like this, and you enter. So you'll be having a returns of 600. From this point to this point is what? 100, and then from this point to this point is 600. So altogether is 700. All right, so this is a bottom bar, and it is going to span from this grid line A14 to grid line A13. All right, and this is the shorter side of this panel, and so this bar now is called the main bar because it is spanning through the shorter side of the panel, so it is called main bar. So I've gotten a main bar. Now the next bar I will be having is a distribution bar. So I will pick lines again. So I'll pick from this point, take it over to these provisions. All right, and clicked. Okay, so I want to be returning it again from this point, just like this. 100, enter. Go this way, 600, just like this, and enter as well. So you will be having something of this kind. So this bar now is spanning from this grid line to this grid line. All right, so this one is from this point to this other point. This is the distribution bar. This one is the main bar. All right, now after having this spans, after having this length from grid line A13 to grid line A14, there should be a kind of a lap length. All right, there should be a lap length from this point extend towards this extend too. So this lap length as well is 50 times D. All right, which is 600. So you pick this point, take it out. All right, and then you key in 600, just like this, and enter. All right, so you will be having this 600 is the lap length. Okay, so over to these directions, you also be having a lap length just like this of 600, just like this, and you enter. All right, okay, so having done this, this is a bottom bar. This one and this are bottom bars for this particular panel. So if you want to get also a top bar for this panel, it is as easy as you pick a line. Okay, pick this point, extend your hand towards this way. Now for you to now have the length of extent of your top bar, there is a formula for that, and the formula for you to get the length of extent of your top bar is 25% of the length of the panel. Okay, so meaning I'm drawing a line from this point this way. It's going to take 25% of the full length of the shorter side of the panel. Okay, so if I should navigate and then I will have to check this, go back to, all right, I will pick my linear to check this length right away. From this point I will be able to measure to this point. So what do I have here? I have 4225. All right, now the length of the top bar is going to be 25% of 4225. All right, that's what I meant. So how do you get that done? I will get back to my calculator. All right, so I will have 4225 multiplied by 25%, supposed to be 0.125, just like this, equals, and then I will change it to this. So you will be having the length of the top bar away from this beam. All right, it's going to be 1056. All right, approximately 1056. So you can decide to use 1100. All right, you are correct. You can decide to use 1200. You are correct, but you shouldn't go below this. All right, so what we be considering here is 1100. So I will minimize this. I'll pick my line. I go to home right there, pick line. So I'll pick this point, all right, like this, and then I will move it out 1100 and enter. That is it. Okay, so I will be having a hook as well from this point towards these directions, 100, enter, and then I'll take it out. It's going to be 600, just as I've explained earlier, like this. Okay, so this is a top bar. All right, well, one thing you have to understand too is your top bar is supposed to be different from the bottom bar in terms of layers. So if you come to what we have from Protastructure, and then if you select this, you see it is rebar line, and then if you check this, you can see the name as top rebar length. Okay, that is the length. So for the bar itself, this is top rebar line. Okay, so you will come over here and edit this by highlighting it, change the layer to top rebar line. So we have to script down this one, top rebar line. Okay, just like this. And our top bar is supposed to be in a broken line. That is how to represent it. Okay, so for us to do that, having taken note of the name to be top rebar line, having taken note of the name to be top rebar line, we will go to the layer property and then look at the top rebar line. All right, which is this one. Okay, so we want to change the line type, this one. So you click on the continuous, and then you will be able to use any of this line type right here. Let us use this first one. Okay, and then you click on OK. So once you click on OK, you can't now close this. So once you close this, if you zoom close this, it's broken, but it's not that visible. If you want to see it or make it more visible, all right, what you just need to do is you have to make it active. Okay, navigate to the top rebar line, these provisions, after which click in this drop down menu. You have to take note of this. This is the one we are using. Okay, the one you are using is this one. So click on order. So this is it. Select it right there, and then click on show more detail. All right, so in this provision where you have 5, you change it to like 10. All right, like this, and then click on OK. So once you click on OK, you can see it is now broken, very much broken now and visible. So this is the top bar. All right, the next top bar we'll be having is from this point. So this one now is spanning towards the distributions side of the panel. So we have to get to know the dimensions from this point to this point, which is 7525, and then activate the calculator, take 25% of that. Okay, so we will be having a 7525. All right, 7525. Then you multiply that by 0.25, just like this. Click on equals. So you will be having it to be 1.881. All right, 1.881. Okay, so you have to just minimize this. So you pick a line again, pick this point, come out. Okay, 1900 is what we are going to be considering. So you hit on the enter. All right, that is the extent. Okay, so you have to provide returns. All right, 100 in that direction, enter. Go this direction, 600. All right, and enter. So this is the standard way of carrying out slab detailing successfully. So we have successfully provide a top bar and as well as bottom bar, all right, for this panel. So over to this panel now. So since we have already haven't this covering this panel, okay, so we pick a line. By then you have to make sure you change your layer, okay, but I'll do that later. So I'll pick this point. I'm drawing now my bottom bar, so I'll pick from this point again to this point, just like this. Once I click, I'll have a 600 lap length again, so it is 600, just like this, and you enter. Okay, so over to this side you still have a 600 lap length. Okay, so you key in 600 and enter. All right, so if you check very well, the line is broken. This line is meant for top bar, not for bottom bar. So you can now use match property. This, click on this. Okay, you can now be able to do a sheet over the line to change the property of the line from broken to solid, just like this. Okay, so this is the lap length. So wherever you have a lap length like this, you must have an additional top bar that will run so as to bind this lap length from pulling out, all right, during constructions. Okay, so I will provide that top bar shortly. Let's continue to provide the bottom bar. So we can decide to just, since the spacing looks to be similar, we can decide to just copy this one just like this. Okay, we pick copy right there. From this point we can be able to deactivate or on the polar tracking, and then be able to place this here just like this. Okay, so this one now I'm placing the bottom bar just like this. Place that just like that. Have this. Okay, all right, so this has not gotten to this end. So what we need to do, we have to first of all delete the 600 and then hold it by this provision, take it to the last grid lines just like this, and then you can now do a returns of activate your auto, and then do a return of 100, enter this way 600 and enter as well. So you will be having something of this kind. All right, pick the match property, pick that as the source, then this is the target. All right, just like this. So we have successfully drawn a bottom bar, all right, across these panels. Okay, so we'll be having another bottom bar that is going to run in the distribution directions, which is this one. Okay, so since we are having these ones, we don't need to draw another one. You can just copy that, and as well you can copy the bottom bar just like this. Sorry, this is the top bar and this one is the bottom bar. So you can just copy that, take it to this other panel and place this just like this. You can see. So the same thing, you place it here. All right, the same thing, you do it here. Okay, so just like this. All right, and then you get this just like this. Okay, so we want to proceed the detailing system. So for this panel and this panel, we'll be producing another reinforced concrete bar. Okay, another rebar. So this rebar now is going to be a bottom bar. So it's going to cut across from this point to this point, and you will have a lap length of 600 just like this. Okay, so the same thing here, you have a lap length of 600 just like this. Okay, so you can see this is a bottom bar, but it's broken, so you have to use match property to actually make it solid. All right, so we still have another bottom bar. This time around, this bottom bar is going to cut across this panel and this panel successfully. Okay, so I will pick that, pick this point, and then I'll take it all the way to this point, and then I'll click here, take it this way. That is the return. Okay, enter this other way 600 just as we have calculated area, and then enter. So you have this. All right, it is broken line, you have to make it solid. Pick the match property, select the target, and then select the destination now just like this. All right, so we have successfully created this, and this is a bottom bar. This one is as well a bottom bar. Take note. Okay, so we can also do this panel by panel, like paneling the all of this. All right, let me show us something. Paneling the all of this from this point to this point. Okay, this is one panel, so we can panel the all of this first before we can now panel this all of these provisions. Okay, now I decide that we panel these two panels together. We do the paneling together for these two panels. Okay, because one length of rod is approximately 12 meters. So if you sum the length of this panel from grid line A15 and grid line A16 and grid line A20 together, you will notice it is not up to 12 meters. So since it is not up to 12 meters, you can run a single reinforcement across it, and that will work effectively. Okay, so if I should check that, you can see it is 7,100 millimeter. So 7,100 millimeter plus the lap length of 600, you'll be having 7,700. Okay, from another 700 of the other returns. Okay, so up together is not up to 12 meter. So you can run your reinforcement just like this. It is fine. Okay, so I want to be also having 600, so I can just copy this 600 that I've drawn already. Pick copy from there, pick this point and take it here, just like this. Okay, so having done this successfully, I want to be copying this for this panel, and for this other panel successfully. So I will just have to select all of this like this. Okay, copy that, pick this point as my base point, take it to this panel. All right, just like this, and place it. All right, then I will also take it to this other panel. I will also take it to this panel. You see, this is how detailing system is being done successfully. Okay, so I will also take it to this panel. All right, so now we have successfully drawn our rebars for both distribution side and then the main side successfully. So this bar is a bottom bar, this one, so it is spanning within this grid line A13 and grid line A14. So I will be copying this right away. Okay, so I hit on the copy right there, pick this point and take it to these provisions. All right, just like this. So I will be having this to span between the grid lines A15 and grid lines A20, meaning this is going to be covering the panel, this one and this one successfully. So I will need another top bar that is going to span within this small panel right there. Okay, so I can just pick this. I'll copy this. This is a top bar, but what I actually need here is a bottom bar. So I'll place this here and then pick match property. So I'll be able to match this. So this one now is a bottom bar. It's going to span from this point to this point. Okay, so I will extend this up to this point. All right, just like this. Then after which I will add the lap length of 600. Enter. All right, so use match property to get that match successfully. All right, so the next top bar we'll be having is the one that is going to span from this point to this point. All right, so I'll pick a line. I'll pick this first point, take it to this point. I'll have my 600 lap length that way, and also this way 600 lap length. Enter. Now if you notice 600 lap length this way and 600 lap length this other way, you get, so if you sum it together, we'll be having the total lap length to be from this point to this point. And then if you move out this way, see you're having a lap length of total 1,200 millimeters successfully. So that is enough. Okay, so after which this is a bottom bar, so I will be matching it up like this, and like this. Okay, so after which I will copy this. All right, pick copy from there, pick it from that point, activate your polar tracking, and then I'll be able to place it here just like this, and also place it here. I will continue to place it in all the panels just like this. Okay, for this last panel I will have to return it, so I will remove the 600 at first, extend this up to this point like this, then I pick line right there, so I can be able to have turn on auto tracking and then key in 100 for the returns and then 600 just like this. Okay, so after which you pick match property to be able to match this right there. Okay, so this is how it's supposed to be, so you can see now. All right, then for this one now we'll be having this rebar spanning within this point and this point. All right, this one, so you have to select this. I like that, copy it, pick the base point and take it here, Also, you have to take this here, just turn on your polar tracking so that you can be able to pick the right point. So just like this, okay, and then like this. If you have any question, you can drop it at the comment section successfully. So we also have this here, just like this. So after which there will be a returns here this way. So I will turn on my auto tracking and then 100 enter this way, 600 enter. All right, after which select this and take it back to this extent match property source and then align the destination just like this. Okay, so now we have provided all of this. The next thing we provided is the top bar. So wherever you see a lap length, as I said earlier, you must have a top bar in that provisions. Okay, and a top bar is just going to be 1/4 of the directions of that top bar. You take it 1/4 of the directions. Okay, for instance, you want to play a stop bar here, you will notice that I will have something of this kind from this point to this extent. All right, and I'll also have from this point to this extent. Okay, so from this point to this point is the length in which this top bar is approaching towards the left hand side. Okay, while from this point to this point is the length in which this particular top bar is approaching the center to the right hand side. So how do you get the length of this top bar from the grid lines, either towards the left hand side or the right hand side? Okay, so for you to get that correctly, you have to, there's a formula. So to apply the formula, you need to get the length of that direction in which the top bar is approaching. So this is the length, okay, 7.525. Okay, so this top bar is going towards the direction of this panel, okay, with the length of 7.525. So to get the length of the top bar, you need to have 1/4 of this, or 25% of this, which we have calculated earlier. So the 25% of this, you can see it is the same value, okay, is 1881.25. So we will take it to be 900. Okay, so you have to delete this up. Okay, so enter line again, pick this point and then go this way, 900. Okay, just like this. Sorry, 1900. Enter. All right, so this top bar is extending from this point towards this panel, inside this panel, 1900. Then the length is going to extend towards the left in this panel, will be identified by knowing the length here, which is 1725. So we will take 25% of that. Okay, so you just have to remove this 1725. All right, multiply by 0.25, just like this, equals to, so we are having 438 millimeter. So you have to get this delete just like this and then enter line again. So it's going this direction, 400 and what on that, let me check that again, 438. All right, so 438, just like this, and enter. So this is what you'll be having. Okay, so this is a top bar. All right, so you can as well decide to extend this to 600, because the minimum length of a top bar is 600. All right, according to standard. So I will get that deleted and then I'll go by 600, just like this, enter. So I can copy this to these provisions. All right, so we have already gotten this length to be 7525. Okay, so the length of the next top bar will be having here towards the directions is going to be 1900, because we have already calculated for that, just like this, and enter. All right, so toward these other directions, let's take the dimensions if the dimensions is the same. All right, so the dimension is the same. All right, so it's more or less the same thing we'll be having in this direction. So just align this, click on the mirror and pick these points, pick it up here, click say no options, so you have this. All right, so for these other directions, they are the same span. So since they are the same span, the length of this is going to be the same. So we just have to copy this now, and then you have to paste it here. You have to just paste it here. Okay, you paste it here. All right, you paste this one here. All right, that is top bar. All of these ones now are top bar. Okay, so for this, we need a top bar here on this beam to be able to hold down these returns. Okay, so I'll pick a line there. I'll get a top bar of length. What was the length we calculated? 1100 we calculated earlier. Okay, to be the length. Enter. All right, so for the return you go this way, 100, enter. Come this way, 600, enter. So you have something of this kind. So this center bar we will be having here. So we already know we are using this length now. We are using this length. So we are supposed to use this length, the distance from this point to this point, to determine this. By the time we take 1/4 of the length of this longer side of this panel, we'll be able to have the length of this top bar. Okay, so let's check that out. So this length from this point to this point is what? Okay, 7475. All right, so we are going to take 25%, which is the same thing as 1/4 of this. Okay, so we activate the calculators. All right, get that erase, and then 7475 multiplied by 0.25, just like this, equals. So you have 1868. All right, so we can just take it to be 1900. Okay, so we can delete this, do line again, take this point out like this, 1900, enter. All right, so we have this. Okay, the same thing will be applicable to this provisions. Okay, so we have to align this, copy this from this point, take it to this provisions. All right, so the same thing will be applicable here, since we have a bottom bar that spans across these two panels, this panel and this panel. So this top bar is going to be spanning from this point to this point. So you will need a top bar here to hold down these returns. Okay, so for the top bar, we will be considering this length from this point to this point to use it to determine the length of the top bar, the extent of the top bar. All right, so we pick this point and this point. So we are having to be 6150. Okay, so we take 25% of that. Okay, so we have 6150, just like this, multiplied by 0.25 equals. So we will be having 1537. Okay, so we can approximately get it to be 1550. So we pick this point, take it out, 1550, enter. All right, for the return we take 100, enter, take it this way, 600, enter. All right, so we will have this top bar for this returns of this bottom bar. All right, okay, so having done that, we will still provide top bars, okay, for this provision. So we pick these provisions, we'll be having a top bar that expands this way, that will span this way and this way. Okay, so you can be able to bind this bottom bar and this other bottom bar together, this one, and this one. So the top bar is going to bind them together, so we'll be having a top bar there. So we will pick line and then be able to determine the length, the extent of this top bar inside this panel, and as well the extent of this top bar inside this other panel. Okay, so we are going to be taking 25% of the length from this point to this point, 25% of the length of this. So go back to calculator, and then we will be able to check that out. 4225 multiplied by 0.25, just like this, equals. So you will be having that to be 1056. So we can take it to be 1100. All right, that is to these directions. So coming in here, what we will be having, we are going to also check the dimensions. So we have an accurate length of top bar. So this is 1975. So you get back to calculator. All right, get that removed. Okay, so you just have to key in that, just like this, multiply by 0.25, just like this, equals, and then you will have it to be for something. So you can take it to be 600. As I said earlier, you pick this. Okay, you go this way, 1100, enter. All right, so these directions you are to be having it to be 600. Okay, just like this, 600. Since it's not up to 600, okay, the minimum length of a top bar can just take it to be 600. Okay, which the formula is 50 times the diameter. All right, so having done this, we can get this selected, select this as well. So we are going to be copying this, so because this one will be spanning only from this point to this point, which is within this panel. So you picked it, and then you have another one that will be spanning within this panel. All right, you also have another one that is going to be spanning within this panel as well. You have another one that is going to be spanning within this panel. Okay, so this is another panel. All right, and this one, then finally this one. Okay, all right, so we'll be having another top bar here too, so it's going to be more or less like opposite of this one. Okay, so you can just mirror this. So you pick mirror, pick this point and turn it this way. All right, so if that is not the center, we will adjust that successfully, but you can just have to click and then select no options, then select these two lines and adjust this midpoint to be at the center of grid line. So it will move right there. There is the break point. Okay, take this to this provisions. So you'll be having this. Just have to copy this top bar as well, and then distribute it on these provisions, and these provisions, these provisions. All right, if you have any question, you can just drop it at the comment sections. Okay, so we will make progress. All right, so we'll be having something of this kind. So over this side, we'll be having also a top bar. Okay, that is going to reference this length from this point to this point. So you just have to check the dimensions at first. From this point to this point, you have 2375. So we'll take 25% of that. So you just have to go back to your calculator. Then let's try to get the dimension again. 2375. So we'll be having right there 2375, just like this, multiply by 0.25. Okay, equals, so you'll be having 593. So you take it to be 600 as well. So activate your line, pick the first point this way, you are going out there, 600, enter. Okay, and then go this way, 100. All right, enter. Up there you will have 600 as well, just like this, enter. Okay, so you'll be having something of this kind as your top bar. Okay, so you just get this selected, copy this from this point, take it to this point, and then you have this here. You also have this here. Sorry, that placement is wrong, supposed to be on grid line. So you can just control on the keyboard and Z to undo that, just like this, and then you continue to place it in all the panels, just like this. Just place it on all the panel, just like this. Okay, that is the last point. All right, so if you check this very well, we have successfully provided a top bar and as well as bottom bar in both the main directions of the reinforcement and the distribution reinforcement. So we also did a top bar here. This top bar we're having here that will bind this bottom and this bottom. Okay, this is a top bar here. So this same top bar, we have to copy it from that point. We will also have it here. All right, this one now will be spanning from this point and this point. Okay, just like that. So we also have it in these provisions, just like this. Okay, so we will proceed by activating the polar tracking. So we can also have the same top bar. We have it here already, so we want to have it in these provisions, just like this. Okay, so over this place we cannot be able to have this because the extent, the length, the span in the distribution directions is unlike this one, this other one. Okay, so what do? We need to use this. Okay, we are going to use this. We have already calculated this top bar, so you just have to get this one deleted, just like this. Okay, so I like this one now and copy it to this point and the same thing to this point because it is having the same length. All right, the same thing applicable to these provisions, the same thing applicable to these provisions, just like this. Okay, so we also copy and paste here, paste it here. Okay, paste it here as well, also paste it here, paste it here and here. All right, Okay, so we have pasted it successfully in all the given provisions. All right, so we have been able to details our top bar. Sorry, we have been able to draw our top bar and as well our bottom bar successfully. The next thing we are going to be doing is to carry out the span line drawing. Span line, the line that is going to call these bars, so we can be able to label them, all right, successfully. That is what we will be doing in the next lesson. Stay tuned, stay connected. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you have any question, drop it on the comment section. For this provision you see here is for stairway, so we wouldn't touch these provisions. Okay, so we will continue in the next lesson.